Jeffrey Epstein didn't operate in the shadows. He ran his trafficking network in plain sight for over 2 decades. Powerful connections, a broken justice system, and people who chose to look away. This is the complete timeline of how he got away with it. And how it all finally came crashing down. I'm your host at Hidden Files Bureau, and today we're exposing the full story. 1970s. Jeffrey Epstein starts his career at Bear Stearns Investment Bank. He's fired in 1981 for securities violations. But somehow, this becomes the beginning of his rise, not his fall. 1988. He starts his own money management firm. No licenses, no credentials, no verified track record, yet he claims to manage billions for the ultra-wealthy. His only confirmed client, Leslie Wexner, founder of Victoria's Secret and The Limited. 1991, the key moment. Wexner gives Epstein complete power of attorney over his finances. A billionaire hands total control to a man with no formal financial credentials. Epstein can buy, sell, and sign contracts all in Wexner's name. This relationship becomes the foundation of Epstein's wealth and access. Through Wexner, Epstein gains entry to elite circles. He acquires Wexner's Manhattan townhouse. $77 million. Whether it was a gift, sale, or theft remains unclear to this day. But it gives him a base in the most expensive city in the world. Mid-1990s. He buys Little St. James Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. 75 acres of complete isolation. He begins construction of what locals will call the Temple, and what will become an elaborate compound with underground tunnels, private docks, and total privacy. He's also acquiring properties in Palm Beach, New Mexico, Paris. Building an empire, a network of locations where he can operate without oversight. The infrastructure for what's coming is being built. And no one's paying attention. Late 1990s, early 2000s. The abuse is happening. Young women, many just 14 or 15 years old, are being recruited. Some approached at schools, some at shopping malls, some through modeling agencies. Ghislaine Maxwell is the recruiter. Daughter of disgraced media mogul Robert Maxwell, she has her own connections to elite society. Victims describe her as friendly at first. Motherly even. She gains their trust, then brings them to Epstein. The pattern is consistent across dozens of testimonies. Maxwell approaches them, offers opportunities, money for massages, help with school, a friendly older woman offering assistance. Then she brings them to one of Epstein's properties. What happens next is abuse disguised as normalcy. Young girls giving massages that become sexual assault. Payments that make them feel complicit. Promises of modeling careers or educational opportunities that never materialize. Manipulation that makes them believe this is somehow okay. And it's happening in plain sight. Staff members see young women coming and going. Some are in school uniforms. Neighbors in Palm Beach notice the constant flow of visitors. Housekeepers clean the rooms. Security guards see everything. But wealth creates a bubble where questions aren't asked. The modeling agency MC2, funded by Epstein and run by Jean-Luc Brunel, brings girls from South America, Eastern Europe, and Russia. Legitimate-looking paperwork, visas, travel arrangements. It makes international trafficking look like a business operation. By 2004, dozens of victims have been abused. But they're scared, ashamed. Some signed NDAs. Some received threats. Some are from other countries and fear deportation. The silence is maintained through fear and manipulation. March 2005. Finally, someone speaks up. A mother in Palm Beach reports that her 14-year-old daughter was molested at Epstein's mansion. Palm Beach police begin investigating. What they find is shocking. Interview after interview with victims. Young women describing the same pattern. The same locations. The same abuse. Detective Joseph Recarey leads the investigation. He's building a strong case. August 2005. Police execute a search warrant on the Palm Beach mansion. They find evidence. Photographs of young women. Contact information. Items that corroborate the victims' stories. The case is solid. Federal prosecutors get involved. They're looking at multiple counts. Sex trafficking of minors. Conspiracy. The charges could mean life in prison. By 2007, they have a 53-page indictment ready. 36 victims identified. This should be the end of Epstein. But then something happens. Alexander Acosta, then U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, makes a decision that will haunt the case for years. He approves a non-prosecution agreement. The deal is secret, negotiated without informing the victims, which violates federal law. Epstein pleads guilty to just 2 state charges: solicitation of prostitution. Not trafficking, not of minors, just solicitation. The sentence, 13 months in a private wing of Palm Beach County Jail. Work release 6 days a week. He leaves jail during the day, returns at night. It's barely a punishment. The federal charges are dropped. The agreement also grants immunity to any potential co-conspirators. Ghislaine Maxwell, any other person who helped him, all protected by this deal. June 2008, Epstein begins his sentence. June 2009, he's released. 13 months for decades of abuse. 36 identified victims. 53 pages of charges. And he got 13 months. Victims are devastated. Many found out about the plea deal from news reports, not from prosecutors as required by law. The system failed them completely. But Epstein believes he's untouchable now. He got away with it. 2009 to 2019. A decade of freedom. Epstein returns to his life. The properties, the jet, the connections. He's required to register as a sex offender, but that barely slows him down. Some powerful people distance themselves. Donald Trump bans him from Mar-a-Lago in 2004, before the investigation. Others maintain connections. The flight logs continue to document travels. Behind the scenes, victims are fighting. Civil lawsuits. Attempts to overturn the plea deal. In 2019, a federal judge finally rules the 2008 agreement was illegal because victims weren't notified. But Epstein can't be retried for the same crimes. The ruling is symbolic. Then, new victims come forward. Women who were abused after his 2008 conviction. The abuse didn't stop. He continued recruiting, continued exploiting. The 13-month sentence taught him nothing except that he could get away with it. Investigative journalists keep digging. The Miami Herald publishes a major investigation. Julie K. Brown's reporting brings new attention to the case. Public outrage builds. Pressure mounts on federal prosecutors. July 6, 2019. FBI agents arrest Epstein as his private jet lands in New Jersey. He's returning from Paris. This time, it's federal charges in New York. Sex trafficking of minors. Conspiracy. The charges he should have faced 11 years earlier. July 8. He's denied bail. Too much of a flight risk. Too wealthy. Too many resources. He's held at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. Maximum security. This time, he won't get a private cell with work release. The walls are closing in. His safe is opened. Hard drives. CDs labeled with names. Photographs. Financial records. The evidence is overwhelming. Prosecutors say they have enough to pursue dozens of charges. His co-conspirators are next. Ghislaine Maxwell is named. Others are implied. For 34 days, Epstein sits in jail. His lawyers file motions. Request bail. All denied. The trial is set. Victims prepare to testify. This time, publicly. This time, the world will hear their stories. Justice seems finally within reach. August 10, 2019. Jeffrey Epstein is found unresponsive in his cell. Declared dead. Official ruling, self-harm. But the circumstances immediately raise questions. He'd been taken off special watch just 6 days earlier. His cellmate was transferred the night before. 2 guards fell asleep during their shift. Security cameras malfunctioned at the critical time. The combination of failures is suspicious. The autopsy shows injuries more consistent with strangulation than hanging, according to some experts. An independent medical examiner hired by Epstein's brother disputes the official findings. 2 investigations. 2 different conclusions. Conspiracy theories explode. The hashtag trends worldwide. Powerful people had reasons to want him silenced. The black book full of names. The evidence in his safe. The testimony he could give. Whether accident, self-inflicted, or something else, the truth dies with him. But the investigation doesn't stop. July 2020. Ghislaine Maxwell is arrested. Hiding in New Hampshire. She's charged with sex trafficking, conspiracy, and perjury. The prosecutors make clear. Epstein is dead, but the case continues. December 2021. Maxwell is convicted on 5 counts. 20 years in federal prison. Finally, some accountability. But victims say it's not enough. She was the recruiter, but others helped. Others knew. Others looked away. The Victims' Compensation Fund is established. 150 victims come forward. $125 million distributed. It provides some closure, financial acknowledgement of the harm. But many victims say no amount of money can heal the trauma. Document releases continue. Flight logs, court depositions, photos from the properties. Each release brings new revelations, new names, new questions. The public finally sees what investigators knew for years. Civil lawsuits proceed. Prince Andrew settles with Virginia Giuffre. $12 million, no admission of wrongdoing. He's stripped of royal duties. Others face legal action. The ripple effects continue. Today, questions remain. How many victims never came forward? What's in the still sealed documents? Who else was involved? The Epstein case exposed a system that protected wealth and power over vulnerable young women. A system where justice took decades. A system that almost let him get away with it completely. The Epstein case isn't just about one man. It's about a system that failed. Prosecutors who made secret deals. Lawyers who protected the powerful. Staff who stayed silent. Society that looked away. For over 20 years, Jeffrey Epstein trafficked young women. And for most of that time, he did it with impunity. He had wealth. He had connections. He had lawyers who could negotiate away justice. He had a system that valued his freedom over the safety of children. But eventually, the truth came out. Brave victims who spoke up despite the shame and fear. Journalists who wouldn't let the story die. Prosecutors who finally did their job. And the public that demanded accountability. 150 survivors found their voice. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. Documents are being released. The full scope is finally being revealed. But for every question answered, new ones emerge. The Epstein files are still being uncovered. More names, more connections, more evidence of how deep this went. Here at Hidden Files Bureau, we'll continue investigating, continue reporting, continue demanding transparency, because the victims deserve justice. The public deserves truth, and history deserves an accurate record of what happened and who was involved. Subscribe to stay updated on every new development. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a release. Drop a comment with your thoughts on the biggest unanswered question. This is Hidden Files Bureau. We uncover what they don't want you to know. And the Epstein story, we're far from finished telling it. Like and subscribe for more updates.